What's up, everyone? It's time for Darren's 5-minute bit of wisdom. Today I want to talk about false binaries as inspired by the movie The Matrix, which I just recently saw. If you like this content, go to YouTube, search Darren Keim, like, subscribe, share, join me every day. So, okay, The Matrix I thought was pretty great. It's made famous by there's a red pill and a blue pill. Basically, everybody, whether you've seen the movie or not, you know about the red pill or blue pill, I would imagine. What it is so a binary is something where you got two options, and that's all that there is. So the red pill, if you want the truth. The blue pill is if you want to basically continue in the delusion that you're in. In the case of the Matrix, do you want to stay in the Matrix? If you take the blue pill, that's where you're going to stay. If you want the red pill, you're going to basically be woken up and you're going to find out what reality actually is. Now, there's been some political talk about what that means. The director is apparently transgender now, and so there's some talk that it was actually, this latest one is kind of addressing what really is a binary, and there really aren't such things as binaries anymore. And you know what? In a lot of ways, hear me out on this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to agree that there aren't often binaries, maybe not in the sense that she's talking about, the director, but in the sense that there are not often clear-cut, it's this or it's this, things in life where it's one or the other. But you know what we see a lot of in politics is we see just that. We see a lot of, okay, it's either this or it's that. You're either pro-vaccination or you're an anti-vaxxer. You're either for the wall or you're a race. You're either against the wall or you're a racist. You are either you're either pro-choice or you're against women's rights and you want to send them back to the 1800s and have them stay in the kitchen and rear children, and that's it. So a lot of times they try to pose things in it's one or the other. And I do not think that, I think that most people understand that that's not how reality works. A lot of times there are a lot more complexities to any given choice that you might make and in why you do it. And you can't reduce something to, okay, if you believe this, then you're this. So one thing that I think we often look at in spiritual life is that here's a binary that sometimes we get caught up in with God, with our belief in God. I'm going to pray for something, and I'm praying that God, I just ask that you'd help me to win the lottery. God, just please help me to win the lottery. And then God doesn't answer the prayer the way that we want it to. Oh, well, I guess God doesn't exist. So the question, let's ask some questions instead of just jumping to simple, okay, then since this happened, then that definitely means it's this. Let's ask questions and analyze and challenge the belief. When somebody says that, okay, I believe this, and if somebody comes back and says, well, that means that you're this. Let's challenge those, and let's maybe not say that it's only one thing. What that does when you say it's only one thing is you're limiting your ability to think. You are closing yourself into literally one option for reality. And so it actually goes against what the scientific method is all about when we do that. The scientific method, what it does is it asks a ton of questions. It says, okay, so reality is this way. Why is it that way? So if somebody says that it's this way, then science will come back and they'll question it and they'll say, are you sure it's that way? Because that I don't think that necessarily describes what reality is really saying, just because that's a possible solution to it. The whole vaccination, anti-vaccination thing is a big one. So if you want to get the vaccination, we know that it's good for the vulnerable population that is over the age of 65. If you're under the age of 65, there's plenty of data that shows that, especially if you're a kid, you've literally got a better chance of getting struck by lightning than you do of dying from COVID or having any real effects from it. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't happen sometimes, but it doesn't happen any more than getting struck by lightning would. If you're a kid between the ages, I believe, of 0 to 5 of dying from COVID. Do we worry to the extent that our toddlers are going to die by getting struck by lightning? No. Okay, so then we probably don't need to worry so much that they're going to die by getting infected by COVID. Similarly, though, like, and there's, that's just a tiny little touch of that debate. I'm not going to get into that, but what I'm showing you is that there's already a lot of nuance that goes into why somebody may want their vaccination or not. If you're a parent, you might not want your kid to get it because of they're not vulnerable to it, and you don't know what's in the vaccine. These vaccines normally, according to the FDA, normally take several years to determine whether or not they're safe. So, with that being said, going back to the spiritual matter, with God, there's a lot of things that this is one of those things where if you're praying for something such as winning the lottery, and if you don't win the lottery, what could that possibly be if you don't win the lottery? Does that mean that God doesn't exist? Are there any possible other solutions? So just to touch on that a little bit. Okay, let's zoom out and look at things from a higher perspective. There's something that the Bible does a lot, something that Jesus talks about. He makes the analogies of a father and a son. So he talks about, who of you, if you are a son and you ask for a loaf of bread, will his father give him a stone? Who of you, if you are a son and you ask your father for a fish, will his father give him a snake? How much more will your Father in heaven give you the things that you need? A lot of times when we're asking things of God, we're asking things that, according to God's knowledge and understanding of what we really need, we are asking for things that God knows that that's not what we really need. Maybe God wants to teach you how to build wealth. Maybe he doesn't want you to just get it in the lottery. There's a lot of different options. And so it's important that we don't just jump to conclusions. So my bit of wisdom is, let's learn to ask questions and to analyze things critically, because what it does is helps us to think and find out the best solution. If you like this content, you can go to, again, YouTube, search Darren Keim, like, subscribe, share. Love to have you on board. Thanks, guys. Bye.